As the sun goes down, you may want to automate how your lights will go on one after another, but for that you need home automation software. But which one? So you have FHEM or OpenHAB, but for each you need a whole image, and if you made already some tweaks and settings, you lose them when you switch between each other. So this was not right for me. So I wrote a script which installs native Node-RED and Home Assistant. And if you want, you can also install FHEM, OpenHAB, IOBroker, Homebridge, you name it. And because most of it is running in Docker containers, it's easy removed afterwards, or you can just install another software. So maybe this script is right for you.
First was the idea.
So first you need a Raspberry Pi. Recommended is version 4. If you can afford it, then go for 4 GB memory, but if not, then 2 GB should be enough. You also need an SD card, a 5V power supply with about 3 amps, an USB adapter for a flash disk is recommended, and if possible use Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi. If you need links, you can find it on ei23.com or in the video description, and there are some affiliate links, and with that you can support this project. With RPI clone you can easily copy your system to your flash disk, and then you no longer have to use the SD card and your Raspberry gets much faster, but at first we have to flash Raspbian from raspberrypi.org on our SD card. The easiest way is with the Raspberry Pi imager, and we choose Raspbian Lite OS because we don't need a desktop. After flashing you just have to remove your SD card and insert it again. Then create an empty file which is named SSH, and if you absolutely cannot connect via Ethernet, then you have to place a config file for Wi-Fi. Then eject your SD card, connect your Raspberry with Ethernet if possible, and then stick the cable with the juice and let it run. After that you have to figure out which IP your Raspberry is using. The easiest way is to look inside your router configuration. If possible, then make your IP address permanent so you won't lose your Raspberry in your network. Then you need a SSH program like PuTTY and connect to the Raspberry Pi IP address. The default username is Pi and password Raspberry. At the first run you have to run sudo raspi-config to set your clock. You can navigate through this menu with the arrow keys. If you have subscribed to the ei23.com newsletter, then you get after about an hour the link and instructions to install the installation script. Paste it like here and press enter. And the second command is bash ei23.sh, and then you can run it just like a charm. Then you have to accept the terms of use, and you can name your server. I do it. Okay. And here you have some options which software you want to install. You always have the option to install software manually later. I show you later in this video how you can do it. For this time I will go with standard options. So I continue. The username for Node-RED is in this case admin. You can choose your own. Password. And then you can grab a cup of tea or coffee, eat cookies. You can do what you like, but you have to wait. And then we just have to restart once. So, and here we can see our stupid name, and we just type bash i23.sh again. Here we can set the admin name for Mosquitto, MQTT. Here we have to wait for a second, and when it says password, we can type our password. If we installed PiHole, then we can set a password for that too. And then we're done. If the installation has finished, you just have to enter the IP address or hostname of the Raspberry Pi into your browser, and then you should see this dashboard where you can access the different programs you just have installed. For example, we click here on Node-RED, and then we have to type our username and password if you have set it. And this is an example. I do it again. This is the library, or for this time in German, you should see it in English. And you import create main database. This you only have to run once. What does it? It creates the database main into your Influx database. And here you got the configuration. I only need one, so I will delete the other ones like this. You don't have to do this because you are here for the first time. You also can set it here or delete it. And if you have set passwords for the database, you also can set it here. I will show you in a second how you can do this. For now, the main database is created and we import another cool example. This is very useful. You maybe use it every time. What does it? It runs every minute request on the statistics of the Pi with this exact nodes, and show it to you like this. CPU temperature is 41 degrees. If you use a fan, it might be lower to 35 degrees or something. Here you have the memory usage, and all this data will be processed in here and written to the main database under Pi stats. And how we can look at it, I will show you. You go to Grafana, type admin, and because you log in for the first time, you have to set a password. So, and then you have to add your first data source here under configuration, add data source, and here we have InfluxDB. We don't need this address, we need, instead of localhost, we need InfluxDB, so we type HTTP InfluxDB 88.6. So, and we have to name our database, its main. If you have set password and user, you also have to type it here or under here. I don't have for this example, but I show you in a second. Here you go to new panel, and there you can, because it's the default database, you can already choose Pi stats, and under value you can choose, for example, temperature, and there you can name it for temp, set a color, and here you see some values already set. If you go to fill none, you can see, okay, there's a line, and if you want to name the axes, you can here type Celsius for temperature, and then you have here a legend. Here you can choose the time scale, the interval, and name the panel, but maybe later a tutorial how you can set up. Now I will show you how you can install software or delete software. And if you want to set passwords for InfluxDB, you can do it here. Just go to InfluxDB and here you can comment out the different lines and you have set passwords for InfluxDB. After that, you just have to run Docker Compose with the script. The other passwords are set here. If you choose that, then you should be able to set new passwords. With Portainer, and this we have to configure also. So let's set on password. Here we go to local. With Portainer you can manage all your services running in Docker, and here we got 12. So for example, we can delete Home Assistant or Grafana. For example, I do it for this. And we can also delete persistent data. And after that, we go to putty and type bash .sh. And then we can go to Docker Compose and it will reinstall what's in the Docker Compose.yaml file. And this you find in here. This is the most important folder of the whole installation. You got the EI23sh file here, but this is the most important folder. Here you got the Docker Compose.yaml. And what you can see here is like Grafana is now commented out. And here we comment it in. And then we have it again in the list. If you want to remove something, you can just like that comment it out. Or you can add something out of the Compose templates. Here we have all the templates I made for you. Like if you add Homebridge later, you can just copy this and add it to here. You just have to look for indentation. Like this, it would not work. And if you finish, you save it. You also can reach this on here like nano or sudo nano i23 docker and Docker Compose YAML. You can edit like this too, but I do it with SFTP and log in with root, so I can edit it a bit more easily. So then I go to putty and type bash .sh. And then I select Docker Compose. And now you can see it pulls Homebridge. And it will also reactivate Grafana. There you can see it. So here, if you refresh it, you can see there's Homebridge, here's Grafana. And because we deleted persistent data of Grafana, we now have to reset all settings, admin. And there you see we have to set it again. So if you want to back up your data, you can do it, for example, like this. And here you have a whole backup of the important files, or you do it manually. You go to volumes and just save this folder for later use. If you want to edit your start dashboard, this one, then you have to go to the most important folder, Docker, then you go to volumes, web, and programs.json. There you find this list, and when you want to add, for example, the IP address of your router, here's a custom address, you have to add it here. Here's the name, and there you also can add an image. You have some pre-installed images here, and there you have to change the value active to true. You also can add HTTPS in front of local addresses, like the configuration for Nextcloud. It has to be HTTPS or SSL encrypted, and then you can also add your own values, but you have to look for the last comma. This has to be not existent. And if you save it and reload this page, you can see here's the router. The same is for removal. If you don't want to see, for example, Raspberry, because you don't like the logo, and then you type false, and it is gone. It's still installed. I showed you with Portainer how you can remove it, but you no more find it on your dashboard. You also can edit it with sudo nano, then go to Docker, volumes, web, and there are programs, and there you also can see it. But here you have to move around with your arrow keys, and this is not so much convenient as it is in, for example, VS Codium. You can save it with Ctrl-O and exit with Ctrl-X. If you want to connect with FTP or SFTP, you can do it with your client of your choice. It should be already working with Pi and root. So, and last but not least, Home Assistant, my new favorite of home automation. So I won't show IOBroker and OpenHAB, you have to fiddle around for yourself. But this I will show how you integrate it. We should type a name, you should see it in English. I will translate it for you, but you can also see what I'm doing. I'll leave it for here. You can set your location if you want to see where you are, or if you want to do geo fencing, you can do it and set your location here. Here you can set the name of your home, and because it's the first configuration, you maybe have to wait for some time, because Home Assistant is scanning for services in your network, and the more you have, the longer it have to scan. But because we have to move fast, I will reload this page and relog in. So, and here we can already add some services, but I will do it the standard way. This is our first page, and here we go to settings and to integrations, and then we add MQTT. But now you can see here in the background it already recognizes the services, and I will first add MQTT with localhost. This is the server. Our credential we set in the script. We check this box because MQTT supports auto discovery, like in Tasmotor devices. If you add a Tasmotor device to MQTT and set the option 19 in Tasmotor, the devices will be automatically discovered by Home Assistant. And here we have added MQTT. Because I have some Shelly devices, they also are discovered And because I've installed HomeKit, this is also discovered. And now I add Node-RED. This also can take a while, and this time I can use to show you how you can change the configuration of Home Assistant. This is also here under Docker, then under Volumes, Home Assistant, config, and here you have a small configuration for the first time, and here you can set your own configuration. These are custom components. Here you can copy plugins which came from GitHub, for example, or you can write your own. The same for themes. You can change the whole theme. I already set the dark theme here, the Google dark theme, and this is automatically set with this automation. Here you can always disable it for sure. It's been a long time, and here we go. Node-RED is finished, and yes, we are sure we want to set it up. And let's finish. This was easy. Then we click on name, and here down under we can create a long-term token. How you name it, you can choose yourself, but I do it like it should be Node-RED. This is the important part. Copy the whole token, then go to Node-RED, or like this to Node-RED, and here under the nodes you find already installed by the script Home Assistant nodes, and you can add an entity, for example, but the first entity you have to set up. The server is like named here, HTTP localhost 18123, and paste the token, and then you name it, like for example test sensor. Device class is, I don't know, you can just look it up. For example, you here have binary sensors, which means true or false. You also can search for other sensors, like sensor generic maybe. Here, for example, you have temperature, and then we take this, go to Node-RED, and device class is temperature icon. You can search for the material design icons. You can add some icons if you want. I do like this, for example. Copy it. Here you have to change this. And yeah, measurement is Celsius. So, and then you can inject your temperature just like this. This is a timestamp. We don't want the timestamp, we just want a number, and of course it's 42 degrees, the standard temperature in Germany. And there's an error. What I've done wrong. Okay. So, and now it should work. If you see the green dot, it's working, and then we can send the data to Home Assistant. And if we go here to change, yes, we want to. If we add, like, here's already an example. Here we have sensor, test sensor, and here you can also call services or look for changes. You also can do like add helpers. I don't know where they are. Here you can add, for example, a text or number input, taste. I don't want a symbol. And then you add it here. I go for elements and look it up. Number. There's the input number. Save it. And this value I can read out. So I go for event state. Type input number. Then you can read out data and make something with it in Node-RED. Like this. Great. I love it. So, this for the first. Like I said, I won't cover in the next time something about Homebridge, FHEM, OpenHAB or IOBroker, but I will show you something about Nextcloud for sure, and maybe MotionEye and Tismotor. But we will see how the time goes. If you want to support me, just share this video, my website, and yeah, then I will see you soon.